the worst thing you unknowingly did as a child? 1. Up until I was around 6 or 7, whenever my family and I were heading out of a restaurant, and I noticed that my parents were forgetting cash on the table, I would always make sure to grab it and slip it back into my mom's purse. I didn't know tipping was a thing, and it was not until I made a comment about how they were always leaving money lying around at restaurants, and how I always had to be the one to keep an eye out for it and make sure they didn't forget it, that they realized what was going on, and I learned. I cost a lot of waiters their tips. 2. I had just gotten home in the afternoon from middle school, and there was about an hour or so I'd be home by myself before my parents came home from work. On this day I decided to boil a few hot dogs as a nice little snack while I watched TRL. My buddy from next door came over and invited me to play video games or whatever I was into at the time. An hour or so went by and I returned to my house and realized the stove was still on and the hot dogs were burning. Apparently the Teflon from the pan released a noxious gas that is lethal to birds and took out my mother's beloved parakeet. She came home about 10 minutes later and immediately saw this still parakeet and started crying. She looked me right in my eyes and said, "Everything in my life is falling apart." This was around the same time my parents were getting divorced, and she slammed her bedroom